Hello, third grade readers. Last week in your reading science lesson, you learned how plants need bees to help grow new plants. In science, you will be learning how plants and animals work together. As a reader, when I learn something interesting, I want to read more about the topic. I want to know more about bees. I'm going to share a book on that topic with you today. Now, readers, remember when you read fiction text, you learned to use visualizing or creating a mental picture to help you understand the text. Did you know you can use that strategy in nonfiction too? Let me show you how to do that. Readers, today I'm going to teach you how to determine the main idea of a nonfiction text using a strategy called sketch in chunks. What's it called? You got it, sketch in chunks. We're going to think about what's the main idea of nonfiction. Remember, nonfiction is the genre that gives you facts and information about a topic. So in sketch in chunks, you are going to stop after every paragraph or short section. You can even do it after a sentence. You're going to think, what am I picturing? To create that mental picture in your mind. Then you are going to draw a quick sketch and then look back at the sketches and ask yourself, so what's this whole article mostly about? I'm going to read a part of the book, Working Animals of the World by Tammy Gagne, and I'm going to look at the section called Bees. This book is accessed from Capstone. You can go to this site as well to access books. You just need to use the username linker and the password love to read. Now I'm going to click on the book link, and I'm noticing this photograph of this bee, and I remember that from our science lesson, so that's what made me choose this book. I'm going to go to some of the features where I can find just what I'm looking for. Now, in a nonfiction book, you can go to the table of contents, one of those nonfiction text features, although there's a lot of interesting information about all kinds of different animals that I might want to look at later. Today, I'm just going to look at the section about bees, which I can find on page 20. So I'm going to go to that page. I'm noticing the heading is bee. So I know that's the information that I'm going to be looking for. I see this photograph of the bee and a flower. I see another photograph of a bee, and I also see a little caption or a little glossary down here. Bees do more than make honey. They carry pollen from one part of a plant to another. Moving the pollen helps plants grow. Bees help farmers produce about 1/3 of everything we eat. They also have an excellent sense of smell. People can train bees to find cancer, chemicals, and gunpowder. And this definition down here tells me, the bolded word pollen, that pollen is a powder made by flowers to help them create new seeds. So there was some really interesting information in there that I wanted to think about in my head and picture. So I'm going to think in my head, I learned that insects make more than honey. So the picture in my head was a little honey pot and then that plus symbol to show me that it's more than just honey. I also learned that they carry pollen and help plants grow. So the picture in my head was that the bee was going to the flower to get that nectar and get some of the pollen and then go from flower to flower and producing a lot more plants. One of the things that I thought was really interesting was that they help produce 1/3 of everything we eat. So the picture in my mind was all this food, and since we just did fractions, I can think about what that means. There's 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. And the bees produce 1/3 of everything we eat. It's pretty cool. They also have an excellent sense of smell, and they are trained to find cancer, chemicals, and gunpowder. So the picture in my head was this bee smelling the flower, but then saying to himself, hey, my sense of smell is awesome. I can smell flowers, cancer, chemicals, and gunpowder. I'm cool. So I'm going to put that all together. So what is this section mostly about? What is the main idea? I have the honey, and more than that, I have the bees carrying pollen from one flower to another and producing so many more plants, so much so that they helped farmers produce 1/3 of all the things that we eat. And then that their sense of smell is so great that they can smell not only flowers, but cancer chemicals and gunpowder. So what's that main idea? I'm thinking then bees work to help our world in many different ways. Now notice I use the heading and the title of the book to help me come up with that main idea as well as those supporting details. The bees work to help our world in many different ways. And then this was, boys and girls, my sketch in chunks. So I did have that title, and then these were my sketches that I drew on paper. So I did do some of those things with the images from Google, but I also did some of the sketches. So this is something that you can try as well. So we have the honey, they're going from flower to flower, carrying the pollen, pollinating the plants. There's more flowers, which means more plants. They help produce 1/3 of everything we eat. They have an excellent sense of smell. Who's power? And then the main idea is bees work to help our world in many different ways. And I did put that exclamation point next to the flowers, cancer chemicals, and gunpowder, because I think that that's such an interesting thing that I might want to learn more about it. Also, this 1/3 of everything we eat is something that I might be thinking about later too. Now, you might notice that this goes along with our boxes and bullets that we have done before. The main idea, bees work to help our world in many different ways. And those bullet points, more than honey, carry pollen, plants grow, help produce 1/3 of everything we eat, excellent sense of smell, trained to find cancer, chemicals, and gunpowder. So all of those things, now I have a mental picture in my head to help me remember and think about that for another book that I might read. So your job is today, your reading job is to read a nonfiction book and try out the strategy of sketch in chunks. Remember to share some things with your teacher. Have a great day, third graders. Bye.